Is Lesotho stable enough to run a free and fair election? What do these elections mean to the Basotho nation? Are Lesotho's political parties committed to the 2014 SADC electoral pledge? How can the African Union Observer Mission ensure that these polls are incident-free? What time is it? It's question time. Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Mpho Tsedu. After an attempted military coup in 2014, the tiny mountain kingdom of Lesotho is gearing towards elections that will be held 2 years earlier than initially planned. After marathon mediation efforts by the Southern African Development Community SADC, it is all systems go for Basotho to elect the leadership of their choice. In an effort to ensure that these polls are free and fair, the African Union has dispatched an election observer mission led by Kenyan politician Mr. Raila Odinga. But how important are these elections to the people of Lesotho? 2 million of them. My guest today, Meluleki Mthembu, research analyst at African Democratic Institute. Mvelase, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mpho.
Do you think the ground is okay for free and fair elections in Lesotho?
I think so. I think the ground is fair to conduct an election. They are better prepared than they have been, considering the past elections. They are not perfectly prepared. There is still some security issues that are in place. Even the Electoral Commission in their statement is weary about that. But they can hold an election, and it's all up to the stakeholders involved, the leaders of political parties, to ensure that their supporters stick to the promise and the pledge for a free and fair election. But they can hold an election. They're in a better place than some of the countries that have held elections before.
We're talking about a country that almost experienced another coup, late last year. And this is, end of February, elections already. And it's not like these elections were supposed to happen now.
Yes. I think the issue of the coup itself was based on a number of factors. And if you look at the history of Lesotho from 1966 to the crisis of, to their first election, which is 1970, they have had these kind of issues. And the problem, I think, built up mostly in the period between 1970 and 1986, and that was now a single state run. So it was a part which was a one-party state. So how that then culminated to a 1986 military takeover.
Yes.
So all this has culminated to where we are now. And if we look at the issue of the coup, it was the securities trying to take over from the Prime Minister now. But that issue is a matter of, it's not just a security problem. It's a matter of the relations within the coalition that was governing Lesotho. So the cracks within the coalition are the ones that led to it being volatile and vulnerable for a possible coup. So that was not an issue of just security. It was an issue of the leaders not galvanized enough to run a solid coalition. So it almost experienced a coup, but they need to strengthen themselves as leaders and as a coalition.
So as an independent observer yourself, who do you see winning these elections?
It's a bit of sort of a difficult conversation to just pick one. I think it would be a tightly contested, if you look at the three leaders, Tabane has been there before, Mosilili has been there before, and the current deputy president. So these are stalwarts, if you want to put it that way, in Lesotho politics.
Yes.
So if by any chance anyone is to have a landslide victory, which is very, very likely, It might be definitely not the incumbent. I don't think the incumbent would win for a few reasons. For the simple reason that he doesn't have the support within his structures anymore. Necessarily within his party, there are a lot of cracks in there. So the fact that you can't hold that house together undermines yourself.
But does it mean that the people, those who no longer support him now, are they supporting Musisiti?
You see, in a country like Lesotho, where you have the kind of levels of poverty that you have, people vote based on a few facts, and one of the facts is who can deliver for us the bread and butter issues, which are the most important. So this coalition has had considerable success, but it's not enough for the Lesotho people. The Lesotho people need a government that delivers on them, on the simple issues. Help us have our effective agricultural processes running.
Yeah, but those are expectations of all the electorate, regardless whether it be Lesotho or wherever
Yes.
the country may be. But must remember that nobody won the elections last time.
Nobody won the election. That's why they had to form a coalition.
Yes.
And that simple fact tells us how there is no necessarily a stronghold of anyone.
Okay.
So it's a swing. Anyone can take this. But now it depends also on the campaign strategies, how these political parties are grounded on the roots. There has been a gap between the political elites, and they've been called the political elites, who are the leaders of the political parties, and the general people. So I think the party that is able to try gel up with the population is the party that will ultimately win this election. But I don't think it might go to a situation where you need a coalition for a 50+%, and which happened before.
Yes.
But it is not desirable considering where we're coming from this coalition.
Who do you think would go into a pact coalition?
I think,
and who are the unlikely, partners?
I think, based on what we have seen, and just trying to forecast on post-election, I think they went into the coalition that is just crumbling now, not because of principle. They went in because of control.
Yes.
And the likely parties that can still stay in bed together are the two, which is the former Prime Minister Musili and the Deputy President. The difficult now with Tabane is, the Prime Minister Tabane is, you are disenfranchised within the political circles. So when it comes to the political parties that want to get into a coalition, Tabane is for now sort of disenfranchised because he is the one they blame now because of the failure of the coalition to stand together, to keep it together. So you get a guy who's disenfranchised. So he's unlikely now to be part of this new coalition if we get into a coalition.
So you would say that all Basotho Convention are basically going for what? Total takeover?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Not necessarily. I don't think there will be an overwhelming victory from any party. I think there will be two parties that gain the considerable number of votes, which makes them now the most dominant parties in the National Assembly.
Okay.
Of which, if those two parties now go into a coalition, it means that you have a government structure composed of two political parties, which is also a coalition. But if one of the parties now manages to get more than 50%, then you would have a dominance. But you won't have, I don't think there will be a party that gets more than 60% of the vote.
Hold the thought there. We're going to take a quick break. Please don't go away. We'll return shortly.
Art is a personal expression that evokes a flame from within.
Street art, it's a vast concept.
Dancing is one of the main art forms on the streets of Africa. Regardless of how it is done, the streets remain expressive. A passionate artist in the central business district of Johannesburg.
Yeah, I've been doing this it's been 7 years or 8 years now.
Brains lost control on what to do then. Words dispute in the mouth of a woman.
That's Kaleidoscope, Sundays, 5:30 p.m. on SABC News.
You fled to Canada.
Those that gets it.
No people.
Ik groei maar eens een kapst. Ja, ik heb een paar bezig. Kom.
Welcome back. You're still watching Question Time. My guest in studio is Meluleki Mthembu. He's a research analyst at the African Democratic Institute. But also, we're now joined by Vuyo Mvo, who is the contributing editor here at the SABC, who is right in Maseru. Vuyo, how have things been going that side politically, the campaigns and all that? Are the parties ready to go?
A great deal of campaigning indeed. I mean, my colleagues, Yolisa and Takwana, just came back, from a rally where two of the major parties were in fact canvassing at the same place. No violent incidents. It was all peaceful. People getting a chance to say whatever it is that they wanted to say, and really no tensions. So it would seem, certainly from what we're picking up from political parties, political party leaders across the board, they are all happy with the way things are going. But that's not to say they do not have very specific issues that they think or they were hoping could have been done differently. But all those issues, they have been able to raise whatever issues they wanted to raise with the Electoral Commission. They have been able to raise whatever issues they wanted to raise with the SADC mediating team. They have also been able to raise issues with the observer missions that are here. But speaking to the SADC mission, they are saying that whatever issues have been raised with them, they have been able to deal with them. And where there are still outstanding issues, they are dealing with them, and they do have the buy-in of the various political parties. The same was said to me by the head of the AU's observer mission, former Prime Minister Raila Odinga. The same things were said to me by the head of the Commonwealth observer mission, former President of Botswana, Festus Mogae. So as things stand, everyone has accepted that the way things are going, it's the best that can or could be done under the circumstances. They are also saying that there are no major issues, the kinds of issues that could derail these elections. So
okay.
As things stand, it's all systems go, with everyone accepting that things are as they can possibly be.
Vuyo, how ready the structures and perhaps the institution itself that has to see to it that the elections are run freely and fairly?
Well, from what we were told by SADC, I mean, this came up at the Troika meeting last week as well, was SADC did come here. They did sit down with the Electoral Commission to satisfy themselves that the commission was indeed ready. And from the report we were told was given to SADC, SADC looked at the report, they spoke to the Electoral Commission, and they had satisfied themselves that the commission was indeed ready. But we do have the head of the commission here, Justice Lehutla, who is we're going to hear it from the horse's mouth. Justice Lehutla, thank you very much for joining us, and welcome to Question Time.
Welcome. Yes, thank you.
Is the IEC ready?
The IEC is very much ready. And this sort of question, when first was asked during our baptismal with fire last year, when there was a by-election, we thought, what a strange thing to ask on the eve of election if we are ready. What do these people think we have been doing all the time? All along. But I can assure you that we have had that baptismal with fire, and we worked very hard to achieve what we have done, and we are happy with the result.
Well, it's interesting. It's interesting what you're saying, because when this question came up again yesterday with some of my colleagues, where they were attributed to you that you were not as confident that you would be ready by this time.
It was a question of misconception. I did express, of course, the fear that if the things that we needed to make us get
were not provided to you,
provided, or if they came late, then there was a danger that we might not be ready at the time like this. But this was about 2 months or so ago. And since then, and since we got where we thought, we were able to double up.
So you got virtually everything that you had asked for?
We got virtually everything that could make us work. Not all that we had asked for, but everything with which to get things done.
Are there things that you would have wanted but which you didn't get?
That's right. There were things that we would have wanted but couldn't get because of...
Like?
Longer period of training, voter education and something like that. But that had to be cut by half, perhaps even, in order to accommodate ourselves within the resources limits.
Do you think that will have an impact on the turnout or whatever?
No, it wouldn't at all, because we doubled up the efforts to ensure that this would not have an impact. So this is what I mean, with the staff that we had on the ground, instead of them doing 8 hours per day, they would do 14 or even more hours.
What do you think is perhaps going to be the impact of the is there the political atmosphere? Is the political atmosphere conducive? In other words, have the parties conducted themselves in a manner that you would have wanted, a manner that wouldn't make your life any difficult?
Surprisingly, they didn't make our life difficult. But at the beginning, they were full of, we are not all that old in this office. We are very, very young in this office. And there was absolute, not really absolute, but there was market hostility and open hostility that we found. How do we work in this sort of atmosphere like this? But later, there was a turnaround, and people that we felt were very hostile were the ones who later became very
Your
close
friends.
to us and our friends. That's right.
That was interesting. Now, there has also been a nervousness around the role of the security forces, the police and the army. From what you understand, from what is constitutionally provided for, what is going to be the role of the army, what is going to be the role of the police in this election?
The role of the army is going to be very much limited. It's going to be limited to conveying of electoral material to inaccessible places, remote, inaccessible places. That is piloting the helicopter, and in those helicopters would be the pilot, of course, the loading master, 2 armed police, an observer, IEC member, and so forth. But it will be a
So it's a tightly managed and very open and transparent contribution that the security forces will be making.
Quite so.
Not the sort of thing that could be abused.
No, not the sort of thing that could be.
Vuyo, if I may just come in there.
How soon can we expect the outcome?
The outcome would be, or the complete outcome, but the trickling in of the returns is expected to be around midday on Sunday, and then of course the trickle will expand and balloon into the whole host of returns from various places, and we hope to have the business completed at the latest by Wednesday. So we'd have that Sunday intensifying by Monday, perhaps reaching the crescendo on Tuesday, and then trickling off, tailing off by Wednesday.
Well,
Okay.
I'd like to thank you very much for joining us today, Justice. Thank you very much, and we wish you all the best.
Oh, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
There we go. That was our contributing editor, Vuyo Mvogo, coming from Lesotho with the chairperson of the IEC. That's how we're going to take a quick break. When we return, we'll just wrap up today's program. This is Question Time. Please don't go away.
Let us go to this dolus issue, dolus eventualis and dolus director. What do they actually mean to the ordinary man in the street?
A practical and easy example of dolus eventualis is where 2 robbers walk into a bank with the intention to rob the bank. They reconcile themselves that should the teller press the panic button, they are going to pull a trigger and kill. So the intention is not to kill, but the intention is basically to rob the bank.
That's Rights and Recourse, Sundays 2 p.m. on SABC News.
In Africa, mobile devices are tools to make payments, browse the internet, and keep governments in check with social media forums.
It's given an average African too much power in their hands.
And tech creativity is solving some of the continent's problems.
Everything is internet driven.
And on Network, we tell you how Africans are using technology and social media in their everyday lives.
Join Siphumelele Zondi on Network every Sunday at 19:30 CAT.
Welcome back. You're still watching Question Time. My guest in studio, Meleki Mthembu, is a research analyst at African Democratic Institute. Mvelas, you were saying that you think there's one or two things which the chairperson of the IEC is not raising. What is it?
No, he is raising them, but I don't think he's putting out an honest conversation on them. The issue of security is a major issue, and it might affect how the election goes. The fact that the police and the armed forces have been at loggerheads towards the time of the so-called coup is a major issue for me. The contestations become really clear when power is about to be split, which is on your election result day. So I think we have to be honest about the real challenges that face IEC and the role these two security sectors play towards the peace of the country and towards whether the election result is accepted or not.
Now, are these challenges really confined to a country like Lesotho only, or is this something common on the continent?
It's very common on the continent. If you look at even most of the continent actually faces that. Lesotho is not a unique case. We have had situations where currently, if you look at the state Nigeria is in, it's in a huge volatile state, and you see that the challenges mainly are which party, whether it's the incumbent or opposition, has influence in the military. And you see the role of the military, which we should work on ensuring that we minimize it and to some extent do away with it, because the role of the military is not in deciding the political fate of the country, is in defending the country. So it's not a unique case to Lesotho, but the particular context is unique on its own, and that's what the IEC should face in honest conversation when we talk of the future of Lesotho and basically the next coming weekend.
What is likely to happen, though, in as far as the security forces are concerned, after the winner is announced?
You would know that the lieutenant, the general who was said to be the orchestrator of the coup, is in exile right now.
Yes.
It shows you that that's a cloud of power on its own. That's a constituents of power on its own way. So what is likely to happen is if these security forces are given an undue influence into the decision-making process, and if any, because when the coalition was at the initial stages of disintegration, Prime Minister Mosilili, he was the one trying to negotiate with the security forces so that he gets them on their side, and then he gets rid of Tabane. So you would see how they are used as the joker of the election. So it is an important aspect that we should be wary of, and the AU and SADC and other stakeholders should play an enforcing role, ensuring that whoever wins the election, they have the backing of the population, and as such should have the backing of the country.
Who's your money on? Tabane, Musisili, or Meti?
My money is not on Tabane. It's maybe mostly not necessary. So I'd go for Meti.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was question time for today. A big thank you to you for watching the show, and to my guests. We welcome your feedback via email, questiontime@sabc.co.za, our Twitter handle @questiontime24. You can also follow me on Twitter @Mpho. Have yourself a wonderful time. Goodbye. Thanks, man.
Thanks.